Welcome to the Hamilton Southeastern Schools Compliance Training. First up, we will discuss computing resources and Internet access. The purpose of district-provided Internet access is to facilitate communications in support of research and education. Users should not expect that files stored on school-based computers will always be private. Messages and files stored on school-based computers may be treated like school-owned property. And remember, administrators may review files and messages to maintain system integrity. Users cannot use school-provided Internet access or school-owned devices to do any of the following: upload, download, or distribute pornographic, obscene, or sexually explicit material, transmit obscene, abusive, or sexually explicit language, violate any local, state, or federal statute, vandalize, damage, or disable the property of another individual and/or organization, access another individual's materials, information, or files, violate terms of use, copyright, or otherwise use the intellectual property of another individual and/or organization. Staff technology use. Corporation staff shall not use personal cell phones, computers, including personal laptops or other electronic devices, to access Internet for personal use, respond to emails, or return phone calls during instructional time. Staff using personal electronic devices on the HSE Schools network are subject to the HSE Acceptable Use Policy and Procedures. Important reminders. Your emails may be an educational and/or public record and thus can be requested, reviewed, and posted by parents, media, or the courts. Take great caution with email correspondence. Staff should never send PII, that is, personal identifiable information, such as your Social Security number, using work email or devices. Please be aware that when logging in to personal accounts such as Google and iTunes on work devices, content from the personal account may be synced to the work device, and this could be problematic. Examples include bookmarks, internet history, passwords, text messages, pictures, etc. Employee disclosure of criminal arrests and charges. Any employee is required to report to HSE Human Resources within 2 business days any criminal arrest or the filing of any criminal charge that is related to the following: drugs or alcohol, physical violence, sexual conduct, damage to property, theft, or other dishonest conduct. The employee's reporting obligation applies as long as the employee remains employed by the school and includes any criminal arrest or charge that occurs during non-work times, such as weekends, holidays, spring and summer breaks. Dispute resolution. Level 1. Report the offense or dispute to your immediate supervisor. This must happen within 10 days of your recognition of a concern. You may articulate the concerns to the immediate supervisor. Level 2. If within 10 days the immediate supervisor's involvement fails to precipitate an acceptable resolution to both parties, the concern may be taken to the assistant superintendent. The assistant superintendent will render a decision and communicate it to the parties involved. Keep in mind, if the employee's concern is not presented to the appropriate supervisor within the time set out in these procedures, it will not be considered for review. Child abuse and neglect reporting procedures. If you suspect abuse or neglect of a child, a report must be made immediately. Do not wait until later in the day or the following morning. Failure to report is a criminal offense. If you have any reason to believe that a child has been abused or neglected, immediately report to the Department of Child Services by calling this phone number. After you've done so, notify school administration and/or the school counselor of the DCS report. Sexual harassment. It is the policy of HSE schools that staff and students will not engage in any activity to harass an employee or student through conduct and/or communications of a sexual nature. Sexual harassment shall consist of unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other inappropriate verbal and/or physical conduct of a sexual nature when made by any employee to a student, any employee to another employee, any student to an employee, any student to another student. And staff, please keep this in mind. Do not meet with any student one-on-one in an isolated area. or in a room with a closed door, or in a room with windows that are covered from view. Non-discrimination and equal opportunity. Hamilton Southeastern Schools is an equal opportunity employer. Board policy, along with federal and state law, prohibit discrimination in employment activities on any basis, including race, color, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, national origin, and ancestry. To inquire about Title IX, sex-based harassment, disability harassment, including Section 504, or other forms of discrimination, please refer to the Hamilton Southeastern Schools website for the appropriate contact information and reporting procedures and forms. Retaliation and equal opportunity for students. No staff member may retaliate against anyone, that includes students, parents, or colleagues, who lodges a discrimination and/or harassment complaint. Every public school student in Indiana is entitled to an equal educational opportunity regardless of race, religion, color, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, national origin, or ancestry. Anti-bullying. Bullying is prohibited by HSE schools. Students who commit any acts of bullying are subject to discipline, including but not limited to suspension, expulsion, arrest, and/or prosecution. What is bullying? Bullying is defined as unwanted, repeated acts or any behaviors committed by a student or group of students against another student with the intent to harass, ridicule, humiliate, intimidate, or harm the targeted student, creating for the targeted student an objectively hostile school environment that places the targeted student in reasonable fear of harm to his or her person or property, has a substantially detrimental effect on the targeted student's physical or mental health, has the effect of substantially interfering with the targeted student's academic performance, or has the effect of substantially interfering with the targeted student's ability to participate in or benefit from the services, activities, or privileges provided by the school. The policy also includes cyberbullying. It's important to note the anti-bullying policy may be applied regardless of the physical location in which bullying behavior occurred if, 1, between HSE students, and 2, it's reasonably necessary to avoid substantial interference within the school setting or to prevent a reasonable threat to the rights of others to a safe and peaceful learning environment. This policy also includes cyberbullying. Reporting procedures. Staff are to intervene and communicate any report, observation, or other types of information of possible bullying to the appropriate school administrator for investigation. It is important that you report exactly what you observed in detail, but do not label it bullying unless it's substantiated by facts and meet the definition of bullying. Students reporting bullying may request to remain anonymous to the extent permitted by law. False reporting will result in discipline. Designated school staff will initiate the investigation of bullying within one school day. Responses or discipline will be calculated to stop the bullying, remedy the bullying, and prevent the bullying from reoccurring, but should not penalize the target of the bullying. Parents are encouraged to be involved in the process of reporting and minimizing bullying. Parents of students suspected of bullying will be notified within one school day of receiving a report of suspected bullying. Suicide prevention. Staff are required to complete the QPR training module on suicide prevention and recognizing the signs of a child contemplating suicide. Additionally, materials are available on the IDOE website, including free suicide prevention training for educators. Remember, you can always refer to your school emergency reference guide, ERGs, for step-by-step assistance. For more information on counseling, mental health programming, community services, and support, contact the HSE Mental Health Coordinator. Criminal organizations. Indiana Code requires that staff and students be trained to recognize and report any instances of criminal organization and activity. Hamilton Southeastern Schools prohibits criminal organizations and criminal organization activity. A criminal organization is defined as Per Indiana Code, a formal or informal group with at least 3 members that specifically either promotes, sponsors, assists in, or participates in, requires as a condition of membership or continued membership, or has one of its goals the commission of a felony or an act that would be a felony if committed by an adult, or the offense of battery. If you would like more information, see Board Policy J0511 in Board Docs on the HSE Schools website. HSE staff, we thank you for your time. Have a great day.